Greece is a land where myth and history intertwine, where every stone tells a story of gods, heroes, and ancient civilizations. Over the centuries, archaeologists have uncovered breathtaking ruins, priceless artifacts, and entire cities that have reshaped our understanding of human history. From the sunken cities of the Bronze Age to the golden treasures of legendary kings, Greece's archaeological wonders continue to captivate the world. Below are 30 of the most astonishing discoveries ever made in Greece, each with an in-depth exploration of its significance, the story behind its excavation, and its impact on our knowledge of the ancient past. Greece's most incredible archaeological discoveries that rewrote history. The Palace of Knossos, the Labyrinth of the Minotaur. The discovery of the Palace of Knossos on the island of Crete by British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans in the early 20th century was a revelation that brought the mythical Minoan civilization into the light of history. Dating back to approximately 2000 before Common Era, this vast complex of courtyards, storerooms, and ceremonial chambers is often associated with the legend of the Minotaur and the labyrinth built by King Minos. The palace's advanced architecture, featuring multi-story buildings, intricate drainage systems, and vibrant frescoes, demonstrates the sophistication of Minoan engineering and artistry. Among the most famous frescoes is the Prince of the Lilies, depicting a young man in a ceremonial role, and the bull leaping scene, which may represent a ritual sport. Evans' controversial reconstruction efforts, using concrete to restore parts of the palace, have been debated by scholars, but there is no denying that Knossos remains one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. Offering unparalleled insights into Europe's first advanced civilization. The Mask of Agamemnon, a golden face from the Mycenaean age. When Heinrich Schliemann, the pioneering but often controversial archaeologist, uncovered a gold death mask in a royal grave at Mycenae in 1876, he famously declared, "I have gazed upon the face of Agamemnon." Though later dating revealed that the mask actually belonged to an earlier Mycenaean ruler from the 16th century before Common Era, the artifact remains one of the most iconic finds of Greek archaeology. Crafted from a single sheet of gold and delicately hammered to depict the features of a bearded nobleman, the mask was part of a trove of golden objects buried with Mycenaean elites. The discovery of Grave Circle A, where the mask was found, confirmed the wealth and power of Mycenae, a city immortalized in Homer's Iliad as the seat of King Agamemnon, leader of the Greeks in the Trojan War. While Schliemann's methods were often reckless by modern standards, his excavations at Mycenae unveiled a civilization that matched the grandeur described in ancient epics. The Antikythera mechanism, the world's first computer. In 1901, sponge divers off the coast of the tiny island of Antikythera stumbled upon an ancient shipwreck that would yield one of the most baffling and sophisticated artifacts ever discovered, the Antikythera mechanism. Dating to around 100 before Common Era, this intricate bronze device, composed of interlocking gears and inscribed with Greek text, was initially mistaken for a simple navigational tool. However, advanced imaging techniques in the 21st century revealed its true purpose: an astronomical calculator capable of predicting solar and lunar eclipses, tracking the cycles of the Olympic Games, and modeling the movements of the planets. Often called the world's first analog computer, the mechanism demonstrates a level of technological sophistication previously thought impossible for the ancient Greeks. The shipwreck also contained bronze statues, glassware, and jewelry, suggesting it was a luxury vessel carrying treasures from the eastern Mediterranean to Rome. The Antikythera mechanism remains a testament to the ingenuity of Hellenistic science and continues to inspire researchers exploring the origins of mechanical engineering. The tomb of Philip II, a Macedonian king's final resting place. In 1977, Greek archaeologist Manolis Andronikos made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. The unplundered royal tombs at Vergina, believed to belong to Philip II of Macedon, father of Alexander the Great. The most spectacular find was a gold larynx, funerary chest, containing the cremated remains of a man in his mid-40s, consistent with Philip's age at death in 336 before Common Era. The tomb also held an exquisite golden wreath, weapons, and armor, including a ceremonial shield decorated with ivory and gold. The walls were adorned with a stunning fresco depicting a hunting scene, possibly referencing Philip's military prowess. The discovery provided irrefutable evidence of the wealth and artistry of the Macedonian kingdom before Alexander's conquests reshaped the ancient world. While some scholars debate whether the tomb belongs to Philip II or another Macedonian royal, the artifacts remain some of the finest examples of ancient Greek metalwork and painting. The Parthenon marbles, masterpieces of classical sculpture. The Parthenon, the crowning glory of Athens' Acropolis, was built in the 5th century before Common Era under the leadership of Pericles as a temple to Athena, the city's patron goddess. Its sculptural decorations, metapiece depicting mythological battles, the frieze showing the Panathenaic procession, and the pediments illustrating the birth of Athena and the contest with Poseidon, are considered the pinnacle of classical Greek art. In the early 19th century, Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin, removed many of these sculptures and transported them to Britain, where they remain in the British Museum despite ongoing calls for their repatriation. The so-called Elgin marbles have become a symbol of cultural heritage disputes, with Greece arguing for their return to their original context. The Parthenon itself, though damaged by wars and explosions over the centuries, still stands as a monument to Athenian democracy, philosophy, and artistic achievement, its Doric columns embodying the ideals of balance and harmony that defined the Golden Age of Greece. The Linear B tablets cracking the code of Mycenaean Greece. The 20th century's decipherment of Linear B tablets stands as one of archaeology's greatest linguistic breakthroughs. First discovered in large quantities at both Knossos and Pylos during excavations in the early 1900s, these small clay tablets covered in mysterious symbols languished as undeciphered curiosities for decades. The turning point came in 1952 when amateur linguist Michael Ventris, building on the work of classicist Alice Kober, made the stunning realization that Linear B represented an early form of Greek dating to around 1450 before Common Era. These tablets, preserved by chance when the palaces they were stored in burned down, firing the clay, turned out to be bureaucratic records, inventories of weapons, livestock, and offerings to the gods. Their discovery proved that Greek-speaking peoples had established complex administrative systems centuries earlier than previously believed, pushing back the timeline of Greek civilization. The tablets also revealed fascinating details about Mycenaean society, including the prominent role of women in religious and economic life, and provided the crucial link between Minoan Crete and mainland Greek cultures. The Thera frescoes, a Bronze Age time capsule. When archaeologists began excavating the Minoan settlement at Akrotiri on Santorini, ancient Thera, in 1967, they uncovered an ancient Pompeii of the Aegean, a city frozen in time by the catastrophic volcanic eruption around 1600 before Common Era. Among the most spectacular finds were the remarkably preserved frescoes that adorned the walls of multi-story buildings. Unlike later Greek art which often depicted myths, these vibrant paintings showcase the Minoans' love of nature and daily life. The spring fresco, with its undulating red lilies, the boxing boys, showing young athletes in ritual combat, and the famous flotilla fresco, depicting a ceremonial maritime procession, all reveal a sophisticated, joyful culture. Most intriguing is the blue monkey fresco, which raises questions about possible trade connections with Africa, as blue monkeys are native to Egypt. The volcanic ash that destroyed Akrotiri paradoxically preserved these artworks in nearly pristine condition, allowing modern viewers to experience Bronze Age Aegean art in a way impossible at other sites where time and weather took their toll. The Lion Gate, Mycenae's mighty entrance. Standing as the sole surviving example of monumental sculpture from the Greek Bronze Age, the Lion Gate of Mycenae, circa 1250 before Common Era, continues to awe visitors nearly 3,300 years after its construction. The massive limestone relief, depicting two lionesses, or possibly griffins, flanking a Minoan-style column, crowns the main entrance to the citadel where it served both as defensive architecture and psychological warfare. The gate's 20-ton lintel stone demonstrates the Mycenaeans' advanced engineering skills, while the heraldic composition of the relief shows their artistic sophistication. Recent research suggests the missing heads of the animals may have been made of precious materials like gold or ivory, turned forward to confront approaching visitors. The gate's strategic position in the Cyclopean walls, named because later Greeks believed only the mythical Cyclops could have moved such enormous stones, marked the transition from the secular world outside to the sacred royal space within. For Homer's contemporaries, walking through this gate would have been like entering the legendary world of Agamemnon himself, making it one of the most evocative surviving monuments from Greece's heroic age. The Oracle of Delphi, navel of the ancient world. The archaeological site of Delphi, excavated systematically since the late 19th century, reveals layer upon layer of religious significance at what the ancient Greeks considered the center of the world. According to myth, Zeus released two eagles from opposite ends of the earth, and they met at Delphi, marked by the omphalos, navel, stone. The Temple of Apollo, rebuilt in the 4th century before Common Era after earlier versions, housed the famous oracle where the Pythia, a priestess in a trance state induced by possibly seismic gases, delivered cryptic prophecies that shaped Greek history. French excavations uncovered not just the temple but the entire sacred landscape, the theater, stadium, treasuries built by various city-states to house their offerings, and the stunning charioteer bronze statue. The discovery of hundreds of inscriptions has provided first-hand accounts of how the oracle operated, including records of questions asked by ordinary citizens as well as kings. Recent geological studies have confirmed the presence of ethylene gas in the temple's underground chamber, possibly explaining the Pythia's altered states. Delphi's combination of breathtaking mountain setting and unparalleled historical significance makes it one of Greece's most compelling archaeological sites. The sunken city of Pavlopetri, a Bronze Age Atlantis. Discovered in 1967 by oceanographer Nicholas Fleming, the submerged ruins of Pavlopetri off the southern coast of Laconia represent the oldest known underwater city in the world, dating back to approximately 3000 before Common Era. What makes this site extraordinary is its complete town plan: streets, buildings, courtyards, and tombs, preserved under the sea with minimal disturbance. Underwater archaeology conducted since 2009 has revealed a thriving early Bronze Age settlement that continued into Mycenaean times, with artifacts including pottery, tools, and obsidian from Melos showing extensive trade networks. The city's sudden submergence, likely due to earthquakes common in the region, created a time capsule where archaeologists can study urban organization from a period when most other settlements exist only as foundations. Particularly fascinating are the clear remains of a wool processing industry and what appears to be a central megaron, Great Hall, structure predating those at Mycenae. Pavlopetri challenges our assumptions about the sophistication of early Aegean societies and provides crucial evidence for understanding how coastal settlements interacted with the sea, both economically and catastrophically. The Derveni Papyrus, Europe's oldest literary manuscript. Discovered in 1962 among the remains of a funeral pyre in northern Greece, the Derveni Papyrus dates to around 340 before Common Era and represents the oldest surviving manuscript in Europe. This remarkable document, preserved only through the chance carbonization caused by the funeral fire that was meant to destroy it, contains a philosophical commentary on an Orphic poem. The text provides unprecedented insight into pre-Socratic philosophy and early Greek religious thought, bridging the gap between myth and rational inquiry. What makes this discovery particularly extraordinary is the survival of any papyrus at all in Greece's climate. Normally such organic materials decay within centuries. The scroll's content reveals an anonymous author's allegorical interpretation of a theogony, origin of the gods, showing how educated Greeks were reinterpreting their traditional myths in philosophical terms. The painstaking unrolling and decipherment of this fragile carbonized scroll, using modern multispectral imaging technology, has allowed scholars to reconstruct about 26 columns of text. This singular artifact fundamentally changed our understanding of the transmission of knowledge in antiquity, proving that sophisticated philosophical texts circulated in written form much earlier than previously believed. The Theatre of Epidaurus, acoustic miracle of antiquity. The magnificent theatre at Epidaurus, constructed in the 4th century before Common Era and unearthed through systematic excavations beginning in 1881, remains the best preserved ancient theatre in Greece and a marvel of acoustic engineering. Built into the hillside of the sanctuary of Asclepius, this 14,000-seat structure demonstrates the perfect harmony of mathematics and architecture that characterized late classical Greek design. The theatre's near magical acoustics, where a coin dropped at center stage can be heard clearly in the top row, result from precise mathematical proportions in its construction and the limestone seating's filtering of low-frequency sounds while amplifying high frequencies. Modern archaeological studies using laser scanning and acoustic modeling have confirmed that the seating arrangement creates an acoustic filter that suppresses crowd noise while enhancing stage sounds. The discovery and restoration of this theater revolutionized our understanding of ancient performance spaces, showing how Greek architects designed buildings that actively enhanced the audience's experience. Unlike Roman theaters built on flat ground with vaulted supports, Epidaurus represents the purest expression of the Greek theatrical tradition, where the natural landscape and human construction became one. The Sphinx of Naxos, guardian of Delphi. This colossal marble statue, standing over 2 meters tall and dating to about 560 before Common Era, originally crowned a 12-meter Ionic column at the entrance to Delphi's sacred precinct. Excavated in the late 19th century, the Sphinx represents a mythical creature with a lion's body, eagle's wings, and a woman's head, embodying the mystery and wisdom associated with Delphi's oracle. Carved from Naxian marble, the statue demonstrates the transition from archaic to classical art styles, combining Egyptian-inspired monumentality with emerging Greek naturalism. Recent scholarship suggests the Sphinx may have served as both a protective guardian and a solar symbol, its placement carefully calculated to catch the first morning light. The discovery of its fragments scattered near the Temple of Apollo allowed archaeologists to reconstruct one of the most impressive votive offerings from archaic Greece, commissioned by the people of Naxos to showcase their island's wealth and artistry. The Sphinx's enigmatic smile and haunting presence continued to captivate visitors, much as it must have awed ancient pilgrims approaching the oracle. The Vaphio gold cups, masterpieces of Minoan metalwork. Discovered in 1888 in a Tholos tomb near Sparta, the pair of gold cups from Vaphio dating to around 1500 before Common Era represent the pinnacle of Minoan and Mycenaean metalworking skill. These stunning vessels, probably created by Minoan craftsmen for a Mycenaean prince, depict in exquisite repoussé detail scenes of bull capture, one showing peaceful methods using a decoy cow, the other violent capture with nets. The cup's discovery provided crucial evidence of cultural exchange between Crete and mainland Greece during the Bronze Age. While their artistic quality rivals anything from the contemporary Near East or Egypt, microscopic analysis reveals the sophisticated techniques used. The gold sheets were annealed, heat-treated, for workability, with details added using chasing tools and punches. One theory suggests the cups may have been diplomatic gifts, illustrating how luxury objects circulated among elites in the prehistoric Aegean. Their nearly identical size but contrasting scenes have led scholars to interpret them as representing the dual aspects of Minoan culture, its peaceful mercantile nature and the underlying violence of bull-leaping rituals. The Vaphio cups remain among the most treasured artifacts in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. Ancient Troy, the legendary city unearthed. The multi-layered mound of Hisarlik in northwest Turkey, identified as Ancient Troy by Heinrich Schliemann in the 1870s, represents one of archaeology's most contentious yet significant discoveries related to Greek history. While Schliemann famously and destructively tunneled through the mound seeking Homer's Troy, later systematic excavations revealed at least 9 distinct cities built atop one another spanning from 3000 before Common Era to 500 Common Era. The layer known as Troy VIIA, circa 1300 to 1190 before Common Era, shows evidence of violent destruction and hasty repairs to fortifications, possible correlates to the legendary Trojan War. The discovery of imported Mycenaean pottery at the site confirmed trade connections with the Greek mainland. Perhaps most importantly, the archaeological investigation of Troy transformed our understanding of how oral traditions preserve historical memory, showing that while Homer's epic may not be literal history, it likely preserves echoes of real conflicts during the Late Bronze Age collapse. Recent discoveries including a Late Bronze Age seal with Luwian hieroglyphs have added new dimensions to our understanding of Troy as a cultural crossroads between Anatolia and the Aegean world. The Kouros statues, dawn of Greek sculpture. The discovery of numerous Kouros, youth, statues across Greece, particularly in Attica and the Cyclades, has provided crucial evidence for understanding the development of Greek art from the 7th to 5th centuries before Common Era. These life-sized or larger marble statues of nude young men, standing rigidly with one foot forward, show the gradual evolution from Egyptian-influenced formalism to naturalistic classical proportions. The best preserved examples, like the Koros from Anavisos, circa 530 before Common Era, with its haunting inscription, "Stay and mourn at the tomb of dead Croesus," reveal how these figures served as both grave markers and representations of ideal male beauty. Modern analysis of tool marks and marble sources has allowed archaeologists to trace the development of quarrying and carving techniques, showing how Greek sculptors progressed from using simple pointed tools to employing drills and abrasives for finer details. The Koros tradition, which abruptly ended with the artistic revolutions of the early classical period, represents Greek art's first major engagement with the human form in the round, setting the stage for later masterpieces like the Rewrote bronzes. The Temple of Olympian Zeus monument to ambition. The colossal ruins of the Olympian in Athens, excavated mainly in the 19th century, testify to one of antiquity's most ambitious building projects. Originally conceived in the 6th century before Common Era by the tyrant Pisistratos as what would have been the largest temple in the Greek world, construction stalled for centuries until its completion under Roman Emperor Hadrian in 131 Common Era. The surviving 15 Corinthian columns, of an original 104, standing 17 meters tall on a platform 41,000 square feet in area, demonstrate the changing architectural styles and political messages embedded in sacred architecture. Geophysical surveys have revealed the complex engineering required to build on the soft alluvial soil near the Ilissos River, including an extensive underground foundation system. The temple's history mirrors Athens' own journey from city-state to Roman provincial capital, with Hadrian's completion serving as both homage to Greek culture and assertion of Roman power. The discovery of architectural fragments from different periods at the site has allowed scholars to reconstruct how building techniques and materials evolved over the 700-year construction period. The Minoan snake goddess figurines, symbols of a lost religion. The discovery of faience, glazed ceramic, snake goddess figurines at Knossos in 1903 by Arthur Evans provided the first concrete evidence of Minoan religious practices. Dating to around 1600 before Common Era, these striking figures depicting women holding snakes in their raised hands have become iconic representations of Minoan culture. The largest and most complete example stands 34 centimeters tall, wearing a flounced skirt and exposed breasts, with a cat perched on her headdress. Evans interpreted these as representations of a mother goddess or priestesses engaged in ritual, though modern scholars debate whether they depict deities, worshippers, or votive offerings. The sophisticated faience technique, involving multiple firings at different temperatures to achieve vibrant colors, demonstrates advanced Minoan craft knowledge. Recent analysis suggests the snakes may symbolize chthonic, underworld, powers or household protection, while the exposed breasts could indicate fertility aspects. These figurines remain central to discussions about the possible matrifocal nature of Minoan religion and its differences from later Greek patriarchal belief systems. The Battle of Marathon Trophy Monument to Victory. The Soros, a 10-meter-high burial mound at Marathon, excavated in the 1880s, marks the resting place of the 192 Athenian soldiers who fell defeating the Persians in 490 before Common Era. This unassuming grassy hill represents one of the most significant battlefield memorials in history, commemorating the victory that saved Greek civilization from Persian conquest. Archaeological surveys have revealed the mound's sophisticated construction, layers of earth and sand covering the cremated remains in individual urns, surrounded by sacrificial offerings. The discovery of pottery fragments dating precisely to the early 5th century confirmed the mound's association with the famous battle. Nearby, the remains of a trophy column, reconstructed from ancient descriptions, would have originally displayed captured Persian armor. The site's topography, when studied alongside Herodotus' account, has allowed military historians to reconstruct the battle's likely progression, showing how the outnumbered Greeks used terrain and tactics to achieve victory. Marathon's enduring legacy as a symbol of democratic resistance against tyranny makes its physical remains profoundly significant. The ancient Agora of Athens, birthplace of democracy. Systematic excavations by the American School of Classical Studies since 1931 have uncovered the heart of classical Athens, the Agora, where Socrates philosophized, democracy was born, and Western civilization took shape. The layered remains spanning from the 6th century before Common Era to 6th century Common Era reveal the evolution of civic space. Key discoveries include the Stoa of Attalus, reconstructed as the site museum, the Temple of Hephaestus, best preserved Doric temple in Greece, and countless artifacts of daily life, from ostraka, potsherds used in voting, to bronze jury tokens. The discovery of the altar of the 12 gods established the Agora's sacred center, from which all distances in Athens were measured. Perhaps most moving are the humble objects that humanize the past, a child's toy, a craftsman's tools, or a ceramic fragment bearing the name Pericles. The Agora's stratigraphy provides physical evidence for major historical events. Destruction layers from Persian saques in 480 before Common Era. Repairs during the Periclean building program, and modifications under Roman rule. This ongoing excavation continues to reshape our understanding of how Athenian democracy functioned in practice. The Mycenaean Tholos tombs, architectural marvels of the Bronze Age. The discovery of monumental beehive-shaped Tholos tombs at Mycenae, Orchomenos, and other Bronze Age sites revealed the astonishing engineering capabilities of Mycenaean civilization. The most famous, the treasury of Atreus at Mycenae, circa 1250 before Common Era, stands as a masterpiece of prehistoric architecture with its 14-meter-high corbelled dome, the largest unsupported dome in the world until the Roman Pantheon. Recent laser scanning has shown that the tomb's construction required precise mathematical calculations, with each stone course carefully angled inward to create the parabolic vault. The 36-meter-long dromos, entrance passage, lined with massive ashlar blocks leads to a chamber where royal burials once rested, though looters had plundered it before modern excavation. Geophysical surveys around known tholoi suggest many more may await discovery, potentially containing untouched burial goods. These tombs demonstrate how Mycenaean rulers used monumental architecture to project power, with construction techniques that may have originated from earlier Minoan influence but were developed to unprecedented scale on the mainland. The Delos Island ruins, sacred center of the Cyclades. Excavations on Delos since 1872 by the French school at Athens have uncovered one of the Mediterranean's most extensive archaeological landscapes. This small island, mythically the birthplace of Apollo and Artemis, became a major religious and commercial hub from the Archaic through Roman periods. The Terrace of the Lions, circa 600 before Common Era, with its row of marble guardian beasts, originally numbered at least 9 and symbolized Apollo's protection. The discovery of the sacred lake where Leto supposedly gave birth has provided environmental data about ancient climate conditions. Most remarkably, the residential quarters reveal cosmopolitan luxury homes with exquisite mosaics like the House of Dionysus dolphin mosaic, 2nd century before Common Era, showing how Greek, Roman, and Eastern cultures blended in this international port. Recent underwater archaeology in the ancient harbor has located shipwrecks and port infrastructure, helping reconstruct Delos' role in Mediterranean trade networks before its abrupt abandonment in 88 before Common Era after a devastating attack. The Pella mosaics, masterpieces of Hellenistic art. The excavation of Pella, capital of ancient Macedonia, since the 1950s has uncovered extraordinary pebble mosaics dating to the late 4th century before Common Era that represent the pinnacle of Hellenistic floor art. The most famous, depicting a lion hunt signed by the artist Knossos, uses natural stones in subtle color gradations to create shading and perspective previously unseen in Greek art. Archaeologists discovered these mosaics in the ruins of aristocratic houses, preserved under layers of later occupation. The abduction of Helen mosaic shows the emerging use of lead strips to outline figures, a technical precursor to later tessellated mosaics. What makes these finds particularly significant is their demonstration of Macedonian artistic sophistication before Alexander's conquests spread Greek culture eastward. Recent multispectral imaging has revealed preliminary sketches beneath the mosaics, providing rare insight into ancient artists' working methods. The Pella mosaics bridge the gap between classical Greek and Roman imperial art, showing the evolution of naturalism in ancient depictions. The Herion of Samos, colossal sanctuary to the goddess. The massive temple of Hera on Samos, excavated by German archaeologists since 1910, was one of the ancient world's largest religious structures. The third iteration, begun circa 530 before Common Era, measured 55 meters by 108 meters with 155 colossal columns, dimensions that rivaled later temples like Artemis at Ephesus. The discovery of its innovative double colonnade design revealed how Samian architects pushed the limits of Ionic architecture. Thousands of votive offerings found at the site, including Egyptian and Near Eastern artifacts, attest to Samos' importance as a maritime trading power. Most remarkably, the surviving 4 meters long column drum fragments show the precision of ancient stoneworking. When placed together, their joints are nearly seamless. Recent underwater surveys have located parts of the ancient harbor works that received pilgrims and traders. The Hieronymus development over 8 centuries, from simple altar to colossal temple, provides a microcosm of Greek architectural evolution. While its orientation to astronomical phenomena suggests sophisticated sacred geometry. The Nestor's Palace Pylos Bronze Age Administrative Center. The 1939 excavation of the Palace of Nestor at Pylos by Carl Blegen uncovered the best-preserved Mycenaean palace complex on mainland Greece. Dating to circa 1300 before Common Era, this sprawling administrative center featured a central megaton with elaborate frescoes, storerooms containing hundreds of linear B tablets, and a bathroom with a terracotta tub still in situ. The tablets' accounts of bronze production, requiring precise tin-copper ratios, revealed advanced metallurgical knowledge. In 2015, the spectacular Griffin warrior tomb discovered nearby yielded over 3,000 objects including gold rings, weapons, and an agate sealstone with minutely detailed combat scenes that required magnification to appreciate. The palace's sudden destruction by fire around 1180 before Common Era preserved the linear B tablets by accidental baking, providing crucial evidence about the final days before the Bronze Age collapse. Ongoing pigment analysis of the frescoes is reconstructing the Mycenaean color palette. While architectural studies show sophisticated earthquake-resistant features in the palace's design. The Dian Archaeological Park Sacred City of Macedonia. Excavations since 1928 at Dian near Mount Olympus have uncovered a complete sacred city that flourished from classical through Roman times. The Sanctuary of Zeus, where Macedonian kings made sacrifices before campaigns, contained remarkable bronze statues of musicians, 4th century before Common Era, preserved in extraordinary detail. The discovery of the Villa of Dionysus with its perfectly preserved floor mosaics, 2nd century Common Era, revealed how Roman-era elites lived in provincial Greece. Most dramatically, the 2006 discovery of a massive Macedonian tomb containing armor and weapons may belong to a general of Alexander the Great. The site's extensive waterworks, including Roman baths and nymphaea, demonstrate hydraulic engineering skills. Recent pollen analysis from the sanctuary's altars has identified the specific plants used in ancient sacrifices, while 3D modeling of the city's layout shows how sacred and civic spaces were carefully integrated in Hellenistic urban planning. The Lefkandi Harun evidence of Homeric burials. The 1980 excavation at Lefkandi on Euboea uncovered a startling proto-historic burial complex, circa 1000 before Common Era, that transformed understanding of Greece's so-called Dark Age. A 50-meter-long building covered the cremated remains of a warrior buried with his weapons and the inhumed body of a woman adorned with gold jewelry. Nearby stood 4 horse burials, a funerary practice echoing Homeric descriptions. The discovery proved that sophisticated social hierarchies and long-distance trade, the grave goods included Cypriot pottery and Near Eastern goldwork, persisted after the Bronze Age collapse. The building's unusual size and plan suggest it may represent an early Greek Harun, hero shrine, predating known hero cults by centuries. Ongoing analysis of the metal artifacts has identified copper sources from as far away as Britain, forcing scholars to reconsider the extent of early Iron Age trade networks. The Lefkandi finds provide the missing link between Mycenaean and Archaic Greece, showing cultural continuity where historians once saw only decline. The Sanctuary of Dodona Oracle of the Rustling Leaves. Systematic excavations since the 1950s at Dodona in Epirus have revealed one of Greece's oldest oracular sites, dedicated to Zeus and mentioned in Homer's Odyssey. The discovery of bronze tripods and inscribed lead tablets, 6th–3rd centuries before Common Era, containing questions to the oracle show how pilgrims sought divine guidance on matters from personal health to state politics. The sacred oak tree's location was identified through root cavity analysis, while the theatre, 3rd century before Common Era, one of Greece's largest, demonstrates the site's growing importance. Most remarkably, acoustic studies of the unusual, echoing stoa, suggest priests may have used sound effects to enhance oracular pronouncements. The thousands of inscribed tablets provide an unparalleled archive of ancient concerns, from a slave asking if he should run away to cities inquiring about founding colonies. Dodana's long occupation, from the Bronze Age through Roman times, shows how oracular practices evolved while maintaining continuity with primal nature worship. The Phaistos disc, an unsolved Minoan mystery. Discovered in 1908 at the Minoan Palace of Phaistos, this unique fired clay disc, circa 1700 before Common Era, remains one of archaeology's most tantalizing puzzles. The disc's 241 tokens arranged in a spiral, stamped with 45 distinct symbols, constitute what appears to be the earliest known example of movable type printing. Despite over a century of study by linguists and cryptographers, the script remains undeciphered, with proposed interpretations ranging from a hymn to a legal document to an astronomical calendar. Recent high-resolution imaging has revealed previously unnoticed details about the stamping process, suggesting the symbols were carefully planned rather than randomly applied. The disc's exceptional craftsmanship, perfectly circular, evenly baked, with precise symbol alignment, indicates it was no mere experiment but an important object. Its isolation, no similar artifacts have ever been found, deepens the mystery, though some scholars note similarities between its signs and those found on the Archaeological axe. The Phaistos disc continues to challenge our understanding of Minoan communication systems and stands as a reminder of how much about Bronze Age Crete remains unknown. The Amphipolis tomb, a Macedonian monumental mystery. The 2012–2014 excavation of the massive burial mound at Amphipolis in northern Greece captivated the world with its stunning finds. Dating to the late 4th century before Common Era, this is the largest tomb ever discovered in Greece, with a 497-meter marble-clad perimeter wall and elaborate sculptures. The entrance is guarded by two magnificent sphinxes, while inside, caryatid statues support the interior chambers. The most breathtaking discovery was a mosaic floor depicting the abduction of Persephone. Executed with extraordinary artistry in pebbles and glass paste. Though the main chamber had been looted in antiquity, archaeologists found scattered bones that may belong to multiple individuals. The tomb's possible connection to Alexander the Great's family, perhaps his mother Olympias or wife Roxanne, remains hotly debated. Geophysical surveys suggest more chambers may lie undiscovered beneath the mound. The tomb's sophisticated engineering, including an elaborate drainage system and anti-earthquake features, represents the pinnacle of Macedonian funerary architecture. Ongoing analysis of the pigments used in the wall paintings is providing new insights into Hellenistic painting techniques, while the sculptural style bridges classical idealism and Hellenistic drama. The Amphipolis tomb continues to yield secrets as conservation work progresses, reminding us that Greece's archaeological wonders still have much to reveal.
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.